Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to some more Star Citizen 3.91. What we have for you today is the Argo Mole. This is a mining ship. It has a minimum crew complement of 1 and a max crew complement of 4. The ship has saddlebags on the bottom of it, just like the Prospector. This is considered a medium-sized ship. I'm going to do some zooming out here so you can see the scope of it as we get an external look. Each one of these bags that you see underneath can hold up to 12 SCU. When you're walking around this ship in person, you get the real sense of how big it is. There's a lot of detail on the inside of this ship. If you take the time to go first person zoom in, just look at this interior part. It's not a solid flat black. There's actually lines that you can track. You can see the different textures that are on each one of these pieces of the ship. And right there you can see one of the arms, one of the mining arms that actually extend away from the main part of the ship and allows you to look at another rock. So the way this ship is set up, when you're actually in it and flying around, those 3 different mining lasers can be used independent of each other, or they can support each other on a rock that requires the intensity and power of all 3 lasers. Like this light touch they put on the bottom of it, so if you're not familiar with the ship, or if you're ever working in an area where it's incredibly dark or something to that effect, you could use it as a hallmark to be able to figure out where you need to get back to the base of the ship where the elevator comes down. There's even a lip that came up right there if you were paying attention to keep you inside of the ship, so if you were to put anything down, it shouldn't slide away. The ship is a mining ship, so it has no actual cargo capacity at all, but you could always bring boxes in here and place them down. They should just sit on the ship, but if you were to lose power and the gravity inside the ship, you could expect those boxes to then fly around. That was just another example of what I meant by the detail. If you look at the hosing and all of the interconnecting pipes at the top, they all go somewhere and they have the same level of detail that the actual ship does. So I assume that back here in this back area, those 2 stations you see in the back will allow you to do something with the ore that you're actually mining. At the moment, those 2 stations are just temporary placeholders. Here's a side door, which, notice it has a ceiling door to keep the interior of the ship oxygen inside. And here is going to be a storage locker for one of your heavy suits, because when you get into this section of the ship, this is your halfway position between being outside and inside. So I'd assume you would come out to this space here, throw on your heavy suit, and then step out to this door and actually get into the mining laser seat, do your mining. So that door will close and lock the ship off, but at this point you are now exposed to the elements. So if you're on a place mining where the temperature is cold or hot, you would want to be in one of those heavy suits to make sure that you're protected from those elements. And when we're flying around, we don't have this problem, but since it's actually sitting on the landing pad here, you can see that the mining arm actually clips into the landing pad. But that's the other mining station on the left side of the ship. And these 2 will come out and angle themselves, they can all be direct focus the front interior mining head that you see. This was my attempt of trying to switch back into third person so you can see myself get out the seat, but it decided to switch the camera to one of the interior spots rather than me actually getting out of the seat. So we come back inside, close that door off again, and on this side it mirrors the same thing that you saw on the right. So you have another interior section with another storage locker and another turret seat. And these seats are identical on both sides, so there's no real reason to get in this other side because you just saw it on the right. Notice the reflectivity of the lights in here and the detail along the walls. Very shortly, they say, in Star Citizen, we're going to start to see the wear and tear build up on the actual air vehicles, so I'd assume that if you're mining somewhere there's a lot of dust and debris, you can expect that to start building up on some of these areas. This is one thing that I would have liked, is if you would have been able to pull that little lever down and close that doorway off to create another seal between this interior. This here is your mess hall. This is where the crew will come to eat and basically socialize and hang out. Get a traditional picnic table over there, and the food and drink but this is the kitchen area, and as you can see, you have plenty of surfaces to do all that. And this is the living quarters with matching heavy suits, or storage lockers rather, on both sides. And here's your 4 bunk beds for the max of 4 crew, followed by the dual shower and bathroom. You got a little fogged out glass here for some privacy. You're not taking a shower, whoops, you can access the toilet this way. Now the only thing that caught my attention about this is that toilet paper. Looks like it's the same texture as the wall, so probably not a good idea to use that. Tried to open up this lower compartment here, but wasn't able to open it. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I would assume it'd be like some little cupboard that you would store some items in there. And look at that, a please be quiet little sign. Nice little touch to make it feel like it's lived in. We'll leave out the living quarters and head back into the mess hall area. Another great look at the picnic table style. In this area here, I'm assuming that these 2 sections will be used to be able to do some kind of filtering of the minerals, but that hasn't been confirmed or nothing that I actually heard about it. Just seems like it'd be weird that there'd be 2 compartments right there that you can actually manipulate, but you can't manipulate in game at the moment. And we're taking this ladder down to the forward mining head. Again, there's a door there to separate between the 2, so a halfway spot. Third person worked just for a second there. And as we go outside to take a look at the ship, this is a common bug in Star Citizen at the moment with the mining heads. So if you were to take this ship out and actually do mining, sometimes the different perspectives don't necessarily jive with what's happening with the positions. And so it tends to aim itself straight down like this, even though when I'm sitting in it, once I turn the power on, it's gonna reorient itself. See, it came away from the door and it's extended out into the elements. And that's the forward station for the mining head in the front of the ship. Take the elevator back up and take a look at the flight deck. Again, I would really like to be able to close that hatch there to seal that area off so that this area here doesn't decompressurize. Component section, I'd assume you would have your large components there that you can access them, do some maintenance when it comes to that time. This didn't look too safe to me, that the exhaust line or something to that effect that says danger is right next to the pilot and the co-pilot's head. So you definitely want to make sure that whoever you're using for crew is paying attention to what they're doing so that they don't cause issues with the ship to be either destroyed because of rock being overpowered and destroying, or making the system overheat and causing interior damage, which could potentially kill your pilot and co-pilot. Again, it's a pretty ship for it to be an industrial sized mining ship. The orange look on it I really like. Black and the silver take some time to get used to. I think the black is probably the second choice for me, but for what this ship is and where you want to see it as being an industrial mining ship, the orange is just fine. So as we power up here, toss on the lights, and they're working on trying to make sure that there's enough lighting, so at the moment if lighting doesn't look as bright, it's something that they are definitely working on. The initial lights that they put in were way dimmer and not as bright in the forward position, and it's been iterated on since it was released in the verse. The ship is 38 by 38.5 meters in length and 8 meters in height. So she is definitely bigger than the Prospector. And the viewing ports for the glass, with this unique and clear view in the front. We retract the gear.
Thank you, and please visit again.
And that there, I think, is what makes this ship so much better. The engines, as you can see, actually orient themselves to create like almost an H or an X in the back. Has good thrust. Flies like you would expect it because it is a medium-sized ship. It's got some good maneuverability. As we have an anvil carrack pop into the view here. Trying to steal the show. We're doing a mining video here, buddy, not exploration. Carrack is another ship that's pretty too. But it's an exploration ship, and this is a mining video, so. Now what would have been cool, I think, is if these back panels that are oriented down had actually rotated with the engines. I think that would have gave it a different look too. But they stay in that tilted position, which kind of changes the look. I'm not sure if that's how it's intended to be, if those are going to rotate sometime later. Because they do have like ports on them, so they might be used as VTOL engines or something to that effect. But I feel like they should orient or turn the engines as the engines rotate. So we're just gonna take it out for a little spin right here, not go far, just to get a feel so you can see how the weight is. I'm moving here, it's low controls, just to feel it out. Now, most of the ships have an actual human voice on the inside. This guy has a robotic voice. We're going to use the interior comms here. Call the spaceport.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
So while you are flying the ship as the pilot, you'll just basically be listening to the three miners and you inputs on where they orient the ship so that they can get to the rocks that they need to assess. As the pilot, you cannot control any of the mining heads. All you do is fly, I kind of wish that the pilot could control at least the front mining laser, just the one. So then even if you wanted to take this ship out and you were solo, you wouldn't have to leave the seat, get down to one of the mining heads, do all your mining, and then switch back to the pilot seat to be able to move the ship and orient it. And a lot of people that I've spoken to disagree with that. They feel like because this is a multi-crew ship, pilot shouldn't be able to control any of those things, and you should have to have a crew to actually carry the ship out. And I can understand that. But at the same time, there's other ships that are explorations, thinking of like the Connie, that are large ships, and the pilot doesn't just fly the ship, they actually have control of the main guns. Now they can't control the turrets that are above or below on the Connie. They can control the main guns that are on the ship. And a prospector is a single-seater mining ship, and that is the ship that is beneath this one. At the moment, there is no other miner in between those two. So from that small one-seater to this multi-crew, you move to a position where if you want to be a miner and you want to upgrade from the single ship to this one, you are going to have a tough time trying to mine on your own. So it almost makes the ship have to be run with another person in order for you to be able to mine and fly. Unless you can get over the thing of just getting up and mining, moving the ship, and then going back and mining some more. But that is the interior of the mole. You just left the flight deck, coming through the mess hall. You take this ladder back down into the rear portion of the ship where the elevator is. And we jump back on the elevator and head back out. I do ship reviews from time to time when I have an opportunity. And when the ships present themselves for me to take a look at them, I grab them. Try to do some quick walkthrough just so I can get an idea, feel for it. Trying to get this elevator to go up here without actually tripping it and being stuck inside of the lift because it has that lip on it. And that is the ship, the Argo Mole. Minimum crew of 1, max of 4. If you enjoyed this video, want to see more stuff like this, I think the mining prospector is the better choice, or you're really digging the way the colors and flexibility and the ability to be able to break down the really hard rocks that the Argo Mole gives you. This ship, if you ever have a chance to walk around it yourself and just see the level of detail that's on it, it's crazy. Star Citizen does a really good job with making the ships feel lived in, aesthetically pleasing, by making it look real. Like you're just looking at the reflection of the lights against all of these surfaces, and if you zoom in on it and actually look at it, like you can see scuffs and dirt marks on it. It's gonna be crazy when they start adding the effects where you'll be able to look at one of these kind of ships and tell where that miner has been and how long they've been mining. But that has been my review and my walkthrough of the Argo Mole. Go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, throw a comment out there. I'll Catch you guys in the next one.